The agreement was to purchase a cell phone, and again, it went bad from there.
A scary situation today for two out-of-towners after police say they were robbed in a motel parking lot.
We now know the name of the man killed in a crash along Interstate 75 in Madison County.
He said, "Give me all your money, give me everything you got." And then he started shooting me.
We talked with the man that was shot inside his Lexington home last night.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
We'll get to those stories in just a minute. First, we start with a breaking news alert out of Lexington. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Kristen Kennedy. Tonight, two people are recovering after someone stabbed them. Police say the stabbing happened at an apartment complex on Martha Court. We're told a man knocked on the door of one of the apartments and told the woman living there he was cold. He then stabbed the woman and later stabbed a man in the parking lot. Right now, police are still searching for the attacker. They describe him as 5'9" with a mustache, wearing blue jeans and a black jacket. Keep checking WKYT.com for the latest updates. A man shot inside his Lexington home is talking to us tonight. That man says he was at his home on Roosevelt Drive when someone shot him in his arm. Crews rushed him to UK hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. WKYT's Sam Smith talked to the victim, who described what happened during those scary moments. He has our top story.
While this shooting is under investigation, the man that lives here on Roosevelt Drive is healing. Saturday night, he says someone knocked on his door.
He said, "Give me all your money, give me everything you got." And then he started shooting me.
The shooting victim did not want to be identified. He tells me a bullet grazed him above the hip. Another bullet hit him in the arm. He says that bullet is still there.
It's still in my arm. They're talking about it. That I need to go get it surgically removed.
How much pain are you in?
I'm about 9.
On top of that, his home was ransacked, and he doesn't know if anything other than his cell phone was taken. After the victim was shot, he hopped a fence trying to get away and made it to Lindbergh Drive. He was taken to the hospital from there.
I fell out over.
He says while he was in the hospital, his car was damaged. He says he knows where his attackers live, but not their names.
Well, I'm not going to stay here. I'm not safe here.
He's thankful his family was not home at the time and they weren't in any danger.
This ain't no threat. But if anybody ever comes and hurts my family, it's going to be a bad day.
In Lexington, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Police have a limited description of the attackers. Several areas of the Bluegrass saw rain today, and it looks like those overcast skies and precipitation are going to stick around into the work week. Meteorologist Mike Linden is tracking the wet weather on the First Alert Defender.
Well, Kristen, we are just continuing to see the soggy conditions continue for southeastern Kentucky, especially. The rest of the Bluegrass, though, starting to see some signs of reprieve, but we've pretty much seen that wet weather all day long for southern and southeastern Kentucky, albeit it has become more showery here over the past half an hour or so, but we really just haven't seen the end of this wet weather through most of the day today. Now, if we look toward Defender here, as to what we saw over the past several hours, again, most of that has been pushing off toward the mountains and into the southeast, but in its wake, still leaving a lot of moisture, enough so that visibility is a bit of a concern for a few spots. Breathitt County, about 1.5 miles. How about Danville? About 0.5 mile of visibility there. And in Madison County, Richmond at about 3 miles. So watch out for some fog if you're heading out tonight. And it should continue to stay rather cold, at or below freezing through the evening, with showers possible. But coming up in about 10 minutes, I'll have your full forecast, which you can expect for the rest of 2014.
We now know the name of the man killed in a crash on Interstate 75 last night. The Fayette County coroner identified him as 41-year-old Christopher Sean Truesdell. They say he died from injuries he suffered in the crash. Deputies in Madison County say when they arrived at the scene, Truesdell's van was fully engulfed in flames and he was still inside. Investigators tell us there were 3 people in the car that crashed with that van, a mother and 2 children, ages 12 and 5. London police issued a golden alert tonight for a man last seen in London. They say Kenneth Green called family from a Speedway gas station to let them know he was almost out of gas. That was the last time family heard from him. They believe Green spent the night in the car in the parking lot of the gas station, then took off. Police say he suffers from schizophrenia, is bipolar, and has violent tendencies. Officers tell us Green is driving a white 1999 Oldsmobile 88 with Tennessee license plate number R7241E. The Fayette County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help tracking down a wanted man. Deputies trying to serve an EPO to Jamal Carey Robinson this afternoon. We're told Robinson tried to hit one of the deputies with his car. He was driving a 2014 dark blue Chevy Camaro with Indiana license plate 368BPD. Robinson is described as 5'8", weighing about 160 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. A couple hoping to buy a phone this afternoon ended up with more than they bargained for. Lexington police say a man and a woman met up with two women at the Days Motel on Versailles Road. The women were supposed to sell the couple a phone they had posted about on social media. But police say the sellers tried to rob the couple and fired shots at them. WKYT's Jordan Valines talked to police who have a word of warning in this Crime Tracker report.
Nowadays, many folks turn to Craigslist and even local Facebook yard sale pages to find deals on an array of items. But on Sunday, one couple learned that buying goods from strangers.
That was the agreement, was to purchase a cell phone, and again, it went bad from there.
Can be dangerous.
These types of robberies unfortunately happen pretty often. Lots of times it does involve a cell phone or an advertisement to buy a cell phone.
The latest incident happened around 2 Sunday afternoon when a couple drove in from out of town to the Days Motel on Versailles Road. That's where they had arranged to buy a cell phone from an alleged seller.
At that time, the suspects in the case brandished a handgun, demanded money, and then fired shots at the two victims when they tried to leave.
Even though a parking lot may seem like a public enough place to make this type of transaction, police say that you should actually go one step further by making it inside somewhere, especially a place with surveillance cameras, like a grocery store, even the police station. Thankfully, no one was injured in Sunday's close call, but the criminals are still on the loose. And now police are hoping to catch them before they pull a similar stunt. In Lexington, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
Officers say one of the women is about 6 feet tall, last seen wearing a red hoodie and pink tennis shoes. The other's around 5 feet tall, wearing a gray sweatshirt. Lexington police are also trying to track down a man they say robbed a Subway restaurant. They tell us around 11 this morning, a masked man walked into the Subway on Waller Avenue, said he had a weapon, and demanded cash. Police describe him as a 20-year-old black man weighing about 150 pounds, wearing a black sweatshirt, black pants, and black shoes. And in Mercer County, Harrodsburg police are looking for two women accused of walking out of a Walmart with a TV. Officers say these women left the store with a 40-inch Sony TV valued at $380. The women then loaded the TV into a truck and left. State police say mild weather is to thank for a drop in deadly crashes this year. So far, troopers report the number of deaths on the roads has decreased. Sean Berry spoke with police in Hazard, who are happy to have a quiet year.
Hazard police officer Doug Ashley grew up in Hazard and says when weather turns roads bad, drivers are worse.
The majority of what we see whenever the weather gets bad is it seems like people just forget how to drive. They keep speeding, they don't want to slow down.
But traffic-related fatalities across Kentucky are on the decline. According to Kentucky State Police, so far 631 people died on the road in 2014, compared to 638 last year and 752 in 2010.
It's a lot nicer to be able to get out here on the roadway without having to worry about where that next person's coming from that's under the influence or whatever.
Though the roads haven't been bad during this holiday season, police tell me since it is still the holiday season, they're still looking for one thing in particular.
We're looking for people that are impaired. We're watching for the vehicles to see, which ones are driving too fast, driving too slow, or which ones are swerving all over the place.
Ashley says it's important to not be an aggressive driver around the holidays and offers this advice.
Just pay attention to the cars. If you're following one that's swerving, don't get right up on his bumper. If he's driving really slow, don't try to push him.
After all, the last thing you want to see in your rearview mirror are these lights. In Perry County, Sean Berry, WYMT Mountain News.
Officers say the most important thing to remember when driving during the holidays is to slow down when the weather turns bad. A search is on for a jetliner that went missing on a flight from Indonesia to Singapore. This is the second time in less than a year that a Malaysia-based airline has lost a plane in flight over Southeast Asia. Wendy Gillette reports from New York.
At least a dozen Navy ships, 5 planes, 3 helicopters, and several warships from 3 countries are scouring the Java Sea between Indonesia and Singapore, searching for AirAsia Flight 8501. The plane carried 162 passengers, including 17 children.
All we can hope for is that the investigators do their jobs as efficiently and quickly as possible.
The plane took off from Surabaya Airport in Indonesia at approximately 5:30 a.m., but around 6:10, the pilot asked to turn left and climb to a higher altitude to avoid clouds. An Indonesian transportation official said that request was denied due to traffic. Sometime between 6:17 a.m. and 6:24 a.m., the pilot lost contact with Indonesian air traffic control. There was no distress signal. Violent thunderstorms were reported at the time the plane disappeared. Anxious family members wait at the airport hoping for a miracle. Information screens display a message advising relatives to contact the airline instead of an arrival time.
Terrible feeling of loss right now.
Flight 8501's mysterious disappearance is eerily similar to that of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 in March. That plane, which is still missing, carried 239 people.
I think it's coincidence. From what we know at this point.
Investigators say there's no evidence of terrorism, but nothing has been ruled out. Wendy Gillette for CBS News.
Most of the passengers were Indonesians on holiday. No Americans were aboard. AirAsia is a budget airline based in Malaysia that has been flying since 2002 and has never had an accident in the air. In Clark County, crews rushed a man to the hospital with life-threatening injuries after a crash. Firefighters say the man was driving down Interstate 64 in Winchester when he crashed into a tree. Emergency crews took him to UK Hospital. We're told there was also a dog in the car who suffered serious injuries. State police are investigating a deadly crash involving a pedestrian. We're told 47-year-old Connie Mead was laying down on Kentucky 7 in Letcher County when a car in the southbound lane hit her. Troopers don't believe the driver of the car was impaired, but they are waiting on toxicology results. They're also not sure why Mead was laying in the road. Firefighters in Perry County responded to a wildfire this weekend that threatened some homes in the Leatherwood community. Firefighters dug lines to contain the flames and keep them away from nearby buildings. The fire, we're told, burned about 15 acres before the flames died down. Crews saw flames shooting from the home. Firefighters in Jackson County say a Saturday night fire destroyed a mobile home. We're told the homeowners were out getting medicine for their child when the fire started. Crews had a tough time putting out the fire.
We're not located near any hydrant, so we had to truck our water into it. So that always presents a problem when you have to truck water into it.
The Pond Creek volunteer firefighters worked another fire for a few hours later. They say a camper sitting next to a house caught fire.